Arranged in shadows, Victoria traced her finger along the rim of her champagne glass, watching as Jake charmed the investors across the room. 6 months married, and she still felt that flutter when he caught her eye. Flashing that private smile meant only for her. They were the couple everyone envied. She, the brilliant biochemist, and he, the charismatic tech entrepreneur, whose startup was weeks away from a major acquisition. "To think you almost didn't go to that charity gala," her friend Melissa whispered beside her. "Fate has a funny way of working out." Victoria smiled, remembering their whirlwind romance. 3 months from meeting to marriage had raised eyebrows, but when you know, you know. At least that's what she told herself whenever doubt crept in. The first odd behavior came on a Tuesday. Victoria woke at 2:17 a.m. to find Jake's side of the bed empty. From the hallway came the low murmur of his voice, tense and hushed. "I can't do this anymore," she heard him say. "She's not what we expected." Victoria's breath caught. When Jake returned, she feigned sleep, her mind racing. The next morning, he kissed her forehead as if nothing had happened. "Big presentation today," he said cheerfully. "Don't wait up tonight." He left his coffee untouched. More strange occurrences followed. Text messages he'd shield from her view. The way he'd abruptly end phone calls when she entered a room. His sudden business trips with vague destinations. "Marriage is an adjustment," her mother assured her over the phone. "Everyone has secrets." But the secrets multiplied. Jake's laptop, always password protected. The basement office he kept locked. The way he'd sometimes stare at her when he thought she wasn't looking. Not with love, but with calculation. The letters came to light during a storm. A power outage sent Victoria searching for candles in the attic when she knocked over a box labeled Tax Records 2020 to 2022. Instead of financial documents, dozens of handwritten letters spilled across the floor, each on cream stationery with a distinctive lavender scent. The first one Victoria read began, "My dearest son, I hope this finds you well. Is she settling into her role as expected? Remember what's at stake." By the third letter, Victoria's hands were shaking. "The wedding photos are lovely. She looks so trusting. It's almost a shame, isn't it? But we need her access, and marriage was the cleanest way to obtain it. Your father would be proud of your dedication." Another, "Is she still working on the Thorn project? We need those credentials before June. Remember, she mustn't suspect." Victoria read until dawn broke, piecing together a horrifying truth. Jake's mother, Eleanor, had orchestrated their entire relationship. The charity gala where they accidentally met. The swift courtship. All of it. A scheme to access Victoria's research at Thorn Pharmaceuticals, where she worked on a revolutionary drug delivery system. Jake had never loved her. He was Eleanor's puppet, carrying out a plan years in the making. For 2 weeks, Victoria maintained the facade. She smiled through dinners, laughed at Jake's jokes, and pretended she hadn't discovered that her entire marriage was built on lies. Meanwhile, she investigated. Eleanor Harrington wasn't just Jake's mother. She was the disgraced former CEO of Vantage Biotech, Thorn's biggest competitor. 10 years ago, she'd been ousted for ethical violations, experiments that had allegedly resulted in deaths. Victoria accessed Jake's laptop one night while he showered, using his birthday as the password. In her email, she found messages to Eleanor discussing Victoria's work, including proprietary formulas he'd photographed from her home office. "The marriage won't need to last much longer," Jake had written 3 days earlier. "I've almost got everything we need." Victoria was arranging the letters on the dining table when Jake arrived home. His smile faltered when he saw what awaited him. "You've been busy," he said, his voice eerily calm. "So have you. Victoria replied. Tell me, was any of it real? Any moment at all? Jake loosened his tie. Would it make you feel better if I said yes? I want the truth. The truth. He laughed, a hollow sound. The truth is, my mother saw an opportunity. Brilliant scientist with access to the research that should have been hers, with no family to speak of, and, forgive me, desperately lonely. You were the perfect target. Victoria flinched. And you? Just a dutiful son? You don't understand what she's like, Jake said, his composure cracking. Eleanor doesn't ask. She commands. Since I was a child, I've been an extension of her will. That's not an excuse. No, he agreed, surprising her. It's not, but it's why I'm going to help you now. Jake revealed the full scope of Eleanor's plan. Victoria's research would help restart the human trials that had gotten Eleanor fired, experiments on unwitting subjects that had allegedly killed 17 people. She's obsessed, Jake said, eyes distant. She believes your delivery system is the missing piece, and once we have it, you'd be expendable. Why are you telling me this now? Jake looked at her, something like regret in his eyes. Because I made a mistake. I started to care. Victoria felt a cold clarity. Where is she now? Coming here, tonight. She thinks we're celebrating the final data acquisition. The doorbell rang at exactly 8 o'clock. Victoria opened it to find an elegant woman in her 60s. Steel gray hair pulled into a perfect chignon. Victoria, Eleanor smiled warmly. So lovely to finally meet you. Jake has told me so much. He's told me quite a bit about you too, Victoria replied. Just not soon enough. Eleanor's smile didn't waver as she stepped inside. I see. Well, that does change tonight's agenda. From her purse, she produced a small revolver. Such a shame. Jake did warn me you were getting suspicious. Didn't you, darling? Victoria turned to find Jake standing behind her, face impassive. I'm sorry, Victoria, he said softly. I tried to warn you. You've been playing both sides, Victoria realized, telling her I was suspicious while telling me she was dangerous. Self-preservation, Eleanor explained. Jake has always excelled at it. Now, shall we discuss your research like civilized people? Or must this become messy? Before you do anything rash, Victoria said calmly, you should know the FBI has every letter, every email. They've been monitoring this situation for weeks. Eleanor's smile tightened. A desperate bluff. Is it? Victoria nodded toward the window, where headlights had just illuminated the driveway. I couldn't understand why Jake would suddenly confess everything until I realized he was wearing a wire for them. Eleanor's eyes darted to her son. You wouldn't. 17 people, Mother, Jake whispered. I didn't know until Victoria showed me the evidence she'd gathered. Those deaths are on your hands. Everything I've done has been for you, Eleanor hissed. No, Jake said. It was always for you. As the FBI agents led Eleanor away, Victoria stood in the doorway, watching the woman who had orchestrated her entire marriage disappear into the night. I truly am sorry, Jake said beside her. When they approached me 3 weeks ago with evidence of what she'd done, I couldn't be part of it anymore. Victoria turned to him. Was any of it real? Us? Jake hesitated. It became real. Too late, but it did. Victoria nodded. I'm leaving tomorrow. Don't try to contact me. I understand, he said. For what it's worth, these past few weeks, knowing you were investigating, watching you piece it together, I saw the woman I should have loved from the beginning. Brilliant, determined, unstoppable. Victoria picked up her packed suitcase from the hallway. You know what's ironic? My research was never gonna work. The formula has a fatal flaw that would have revealed itself in human trials. Any scientist worth their salt would have seen it instantly. She opened the front door, then turned back with a thin smile. Your mother isn't the only one who can arrange things, Jake. I've known who you were from the beginning. The FBI didn't approach you. I approached them, with evidence I'd been gathering since our third date. The look of shock on Jake's face was the last thing Victoria saw as she closed the door behind her. Some arrangements, she thought, were worth seeing through to the end.
If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications.